Is Black Ops 6 going to save Call of Duty? That is the big question that I think a lot of people have. This is a Treyarch Call of Duty game, which, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of other people's opinions, are the better of the three developers. There were thousands of developers on this game, 4 years of development time. The last full Treyarch game we saw was Cold War, and the big question is this game going to save Call of Duty? I have put plenty of time into the beta. I have given myself plenty of time to get an opinion on this. And here in this video, I'm just going to tell anybody and everybody who watches this video, who is on the fence about the new Call of Duty, who is trying to decide if this game is worth getting. I'm going to explain where I stand as a mostly casual Call of Duty fan now. I grind the camos every year. I play with some friends who aren't so good at the game. I'm not as good as I used to be. I'm very much in the casual audience now, and I am the perfect person to give my input on where this game is going to stand with a pretty casual audience. So if that's what you've come to this video for, I'm going to give you all those answers. Now to start, we are in beta weekend 2. I wanted to make this video after I saw the majority of what the game was going to have on offer, and I think I've collected enough experience to give a fair opinion. The biggest elephant in the room is definitely the Omni Movement. You know, how does this feel compared to what we've had the last few years? And how does this feel compared to something like Advanced Movement? You know, is it too much? Is it frustrating? In my personal opinion, I do not think that it is. I think that the Omni Movement is actually the least of the issues with this game. I don't think Omni Movement is going to have a huge impact on the majority of people playing the game. In a casual audience, I don't think Omni Movement is going to be a huge hindrance. It does not feel like Advanced Movement, so you don't have to worry about that. It looks a lot faster when you're watching somebody else play compared to when you're actually playing it. It does feel very smooth, though. It is very nice. It does take some getting used to. But honestly, if you're trying to do well, if you're playing the game smart, diving in all these different directions and all that flashy stuff is only good for pulling off cool plays, but it's not your most practical method to succeed in a game. And that honestly is going to come down to the thing that the community has talked about time and time again, skill-based matchmaking. You're going to be put with people of a similar skill ranking, and there's really just no way around that. I am a casual player, but I am, on the other side of that bell curve of casual skill level, and so I do find myself in harder skilled lobbies a lot of the time, and I just try to ignore it, to be honest. I just try to ignore it and use what I want to use. I don't gravitate towards meta weapons. I just play how I want to play with what I want to play with, especially when you're working on those camos. So I don't think that the Omni Movement is as big of a deal as some people might think that it is, in my opinion. Things that might concern people are probably going to be things like the time to kill and the arcadey feeling of the game. This game does feel very similar to Cold War. If you did not like the previous games, you're probably not going to like this game. If you have not liked the way that Call of Duty has felt since Modern Warfare 2019, you're probably not going to like this game either. I'm just putting that out there. This does have more of an arcadey feel to it, similar to Cold War, but it does have those elements of Modern Warfare. You know, the way that you run, the way that you move a little bit, the doors, all of that stuff are aspects of Modern Warfare games. Tactical sprint being the biggest one, obviously. The attachment system in the game, in my opinion, is a lot better than it has been the last couple of years. I haven't minded having to use multiple different weapons in order to unlock all of the attachments, just because I grind for camos and I have to use those weapons anyways. But I definitely understand to a very casual audience that doesn't care about the camos or can't get all of the camos, that having to go use LMG number 3 to unlock your magazine for Assault Rifle 2 and get that gun to level 18 and then your assault rifle to level 15, or, you know, it's a pain, and nobody wants to have to deal with that. I can understand that sentiment. So I think that the way that they've done attachments is a positive thing, as well as the attachments having more positives than negatives, I think is a good thing for the long run. I think it gives more benefit to want to use the attachments, in my personal opinion. And that's something that I'm going to be taking advantage of the whole year. Now, if we want to talk about, it's the beta, of course, so you're playing against the more competitive people anyways. You know, the super casual audience is going to get the game when it comes out, or 3 months after the game comes out. People playing the beta are typically going to be your better players, but my experience so far is that this game does feel like it's going to be harder than the last couple of games. You know, Modern Warfare games tend to cater towards a more casual audience. It is easier to do better in those games as somebody who isn't very skilled, because the threshold, the skill gap, isn't very high. So somebody who isn't good at the game can compete with a better skilled player easier, because there's less ways for a better skilled player to outplay a worse skilled player. That is almost entirely eliminated in here. And again, skill-based matchmaking is going to really help people, so they don't feel like they're getting beat up all the time. But if you are looking to improve your skill, just know that those lobbies that you're going to find yourself in are going to really test you. They are going to really see what you are made of, because I do not think this is going to be an easy Call of Duty game to play. Me personally, you know, as excited as I am about multiplayer, I have really learned to appreciate multiple aspects of a game. And since Cold War, I have really learned to appreciate zombies. So I'm looking forward to that. But strictly on a multiplayer basis, to kind of sum this video up, I think that if you didn't like the way that the last few games felt, you're probably not going to love the way that this game feels. If you like the slower, more methodical, creep around the map, listen for someone's footsteps, kill somebody in 2 headshots, this is not your game. This is a game, this is an arcade shooter. This is a fast-paced arcade shooter. There is lots of sliding and jumping and corner peeking and moving around corners. And while I don't think that movement that is showcased is as drastic as it may seem to doing well, it definitely plays a factor compared to the prior games, where there's really only one mechanic, and that's slide forward versus sliding left, right, backwards, you know, all of that. So if you already don't like those mechanics, you're not going to like that here. But if you are a fan of traditional Call of Duty, especially Treyarch games, and then on top of that, you also genuinely enjoy some of the newer mechanics that they've added to the game, like I enjoy some of the newer stuff that they've added, then I think you're going to like this game. I think that I am going to really like this game. One thing alone that sells me on the entire experience is the fact that Classic Prestige is back. So, but just gameplay aside, I think that if you fall into one of those two camps that I just described, first one being the slower, more methodical gameplay, this game's probably not going to be for you. But if you do like the more run and gun, fast-paced, arcadey, you're going to die a lot, but you're going to get a lot of kills. Crazy things can happen. If you like that gameplay, this game is for you. The time to kill feels good, in my opinion. Sometimes it does feel a little melty, but again, that kind of comes down to people using movement to their advantage. So anyways, that's everything that I have for this video. Let me know down in the comments if this video helped you decide whether or not you're going to get the game, if you're going to give the game a shot, or if you're just excited about other features, whether that's Warzone, zombies, or even campaign. Just let me know down below, and if you're going to go for that camo run, because I definitely am.